Hi, everybody. Welcome back to this latest episode of the Strength Club, and we're going to get stuck straight into some form checks. My name is Byron. I'm a starting strength coach based here in the United Kingdom, and I hope this is really useful. If you're one of the lifters featured today, by all means, jump on and give me a comment or ask any questions if this gets, when this gets loaded up onto the onto YouTube, etc. These form checks have come from the Starting Strength app. If you're stuck in your training, then you can get stuck into that app. It will guide you on loading the barbell, protocols for the lifting, etc. And then, of course, we're here at the end of that if you need a bit more support. So let's kick things off. We're going to look at form videos. I'll give you a relatively quicker and shorter analysis on these ones because I'd like to cover a couple more videos today than we normally get out. Sometimes I can just get four out, but I'm going to see if I can speed things up a little bit because some of these form checks have been waiting a little bit longer, and we're just gonna pull them out now and get stuck into them. Okay, we're going to start with Thompson. Thompson has sent us in a couple of videos. The first is the deadlift. Let's wind the tape back. And as usual, we'll start by having a look at some of the movement before we say anything. Here we go. All right, Thompson. Okay, so we've got a few things to tidy up here. The bar is moving well, isn't it? Yeah, the bar is moving well. You've got a good cadence going on here. There's probably some things I would fix if you came to me and again you've put a form check in. So I'm gonna get into a few of these. So first of all, let's whenever we do this, we always break things down in I think into two sections. One is setup, the other is movement. All right. Setup is the kind of structure where the hands going, where are we looking, where do your feet position? If we were in the rack, where's the rack set, that sort of thing. And then once we're into the other box of cues, movement, that is when the bar's in motion, what do I need to think about there? All right. So Thompson, first of all, in the setup, I would probably start by bringing in your feet a little closer and turning your toes outwards. Okay. What this will do is help get the knees out the way for you. So when the bar comes up, you don't have a situation where it's kind of having to loop out around your knees. You're probably thinking to yourself, Brian, I've been deadlifting like this for ages now. It's just fine. And you can continue to do so. But one of the things I saw in the video, Thompson, among other things, is that the bar is not necessarily on your legs. It's kind of coming around the knees there and it breaks contact with the body. So if you want to adjust your foot stance, point the knees out slightly, you'll get a clear run. You can keep the bar on the legs as it comes up, and that just fixes the structure of the start position here. The other thing we're getting in the setup is that your eyes are very, very ahead, and I think this is symptomatic of the tap and go deadlift that you're doing, which we'll talk about that in a second. Generally, also, you have got a cameraman in front of you as well, so that can somewhat draw your eyes towards the camera. We'll look at your squat in a minute, and there's something not dissimilar going on there that we want to address. Personally, I prefer you looking down at the floor, all right? And when I say I mean the starting strength model, okay? I've dealt with situations before when people start looking up and that pulls the body up. And I've had issues come into the gym before with some little issues with the back and back tweaks and stuff from kind of pulling up like that with the neck. The way to fix that is very straightforward. Point the nose down at the floor like 6 to 8 feet in front of you. Fix the stance there, make a little adjustment. So feet a little bit closer, toes turned out to 10 or 15 degrees, little angle at the toes. It's not a significant adjustment. And you're probably concerned that if you bring your feet closer, that you're going to get kind of congested there. But remember, with the toes out, you can shove your knees out. Okay, the knees will be in line with the toes, and that will give you clearance to get down in between your legs and get set up. All right. So this is the kind of the housekeeping of the lifts. All right. In the movement, I would say the main thing we need to work on here is I'm going to advise you to desist from the tap and go. All right. So here you sort of tap the floor, kind of bouncing the plates off the floor. And this is something when Gretchen came on the podcast a few months ago, this is something she brought up. Gretchen's SSC, she used to be kind of a tap and go deadlifter. And what she found was she could sort of lift way more by, would you know it, bouncing the plates off the deck. But we're not really getting a true deadlift when we do that. Remember, the dead in deadlift is dead stop. So really, Thompson, what you want to do is as you put the bar down, that's your opportunity, right, with the bar on the floor to reset your back into extension. Okay, so you take a breath in, set your back into extension, fix your eye gaze, and then bring the bar up. Now, again, that's going to feel a little bit more challenging, but then you are doing the true parent exercise. At the moment, you're kind of bouncing the plates off the floor, and because you're in a hurry to get that turnaround at the top here to get back down to the deck again, what I'm seeing is I suspect a little bit of bending at the knees and the hips, meaning that you're not locking your deadlifts out. You're so quick to get back down again because you want to knock this set out, that you're not quite getting full locked out extension. If you convert into the full parent exercise of the deadlift, cold, dead start each rep, full lockout, you'll get the maximum training benefit from it, possibly at a slightly lighter weight before you rework the weights back up, and you'll get the greatest training effect here. I don't compete. I've got lifters that do. Again, this sort of thing, this will be an issue with not locking out. If there's any part of you that thinks you might do a powerlifting meet or any kind of competition, you're going to want to watch out for that because they will ding you for that. They won't stand for a lift that's like partially locked out. In fact, you're required to complete the lockout before they give the one command in deadlifting, which is down. All right, so just know that that's kind of like waiting for you. All right. Probably best thing I would say is just go through the deadlift tutorial on YouTube for starting strength and just get that 5 step process really dialed in here. Trust me, it pays dividends. Now we're gonna stay with Thompson because he sent us in a squat video as well. So let's get this playing. Thompson, and we'll get you some notes here. You didn't write any notes to me, so I don't have anything to read out, you guys, in case you're wondering. He just put the video in for us. Let's have a look here.
300 pounds.
I heard a voice just then saying 300 pounds.
I can just say it on the thing.
I don't know if that's someone with you or someone in the background.
Oh, and tell me to stop.
All right. Okay. Let's get the tape playing back again. All right. Thompson, mirrors and gyms, big problem. I've talked about it quite a bit on the podcast before. It is distracting. The mirror will pull your eyes into it. In the low bar squat, we actually want to have the eyes looking down. You're going to look down at the ground. Let me just pull you. Let me get this out of the way so you guys can see this clearly. So you see where that mark, that horizontal line, that dark line on the floor is. I don't know if that's a shadow or if that's like a painted line on the wall. But Thompson, you probably want to point your nose at that. So your head's going to be at a slight downward angle, not drooping off your body, just slightly looking down. Put your eyes there. With your stance, take that in a little bit closer. Your stance is coming in quite wide in this squat. And a stance that goes out wider is actually going to limit you coming down to depth. And that was going to be my next thing because in the squat here, you definitely are cutting the squats off too soon. You're not coming down to depth. I would highly recommend, given how smoothly you're moving the bar up and down, you're not really shaking or shuddering or like screaming out loud. It shows me that this weight is within your tolerance ranges. So based on that, my thinking is you should just be able to come down a bit lower. So that may mean you don't need to take that much weight off the bar, or if you do a small amount of weight off the bar, so not 50 or 80 pounds, just rein it in a little bit so that you can get down so that the crease of your hip, that's at the top here where you bend your leg and the trousers kind of fold, that will be just below the top of your knee where I put my cursor here when viewed side onwards. So you have your assistant cameraman go side on, look straight across from there, have them crouch down to hip height, and you're going to come all the way down to that depth there. And the best recommendation I can give you with that, Thompson, is to just get that dialed in with your body weight first. So do the body weight stretch all the way down, stretch out, get used to that depth. And then when you go to the empty barbell, all right, just keep that with you, all right? You just start loading up your ascending sets from there in your warm-up pattern. And if you find that you struggle to execute that depth with the weight you have here, then just rein it in just a little bit, just so you can get that depth, lock that in, repeat, and then you just work up in 5 pound jumps from there. Okay, if you're training 3 times a week, I don't think you'll be very far off the weight you've got here. So I don't think this is a long term project. I think you can get this. So just methodically go through that process. You've got your setup points, you got your movement points. If that mirror, again, the eyes in the mirror is a tricky one. If that's not working for you, the idea of kind of look down there, what you can do is put a baseball hat on and put the cap at the front. Then when you look down, that blinds out some of the mirror. Okay. The other thing I'll do is I'll take a very brightly colored object and put that on the floor for my lifters to look at as a real strong visual reminder to get the eye position there. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for your lifts. Thanks for sending these in. I hope these points are very useful to you. Give me a thumbs up or a thank you on the YouTube. And guys, if you're just tuning in, by the way, I'm on Instagram, Strength Revolution Coaching. My website is strengthrevolution.org if you need me, .org, strengthrevolution.org, or you can catch up with me on Instagram. And I need to get a bit more posts up there. I do post, but you can message me on there as well. At least say hi if you're on Instagram. I like that. I'm on Facebook as well, Strength Revolution Coaching. Okay. All right, Thompson, that's you covered. Let's get on to the next video. So I believe we have Derek. Squat. Derek, let's get this thing playing. Let's have a look here. I don't think we have any sound on this one, guys. Let me move this out the way. Here we go. Now, if you want to make your notes, hit pause in a second, write your notes down, and then when you've got your notes written down, hit play, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing. Okay, we'll go again. So, Derek, first thing I find for you is that you're moving this weight very like you bouncing up and down, almost like it's an empty bar. So this feels like a warm-up set to me. To be honest with you, Derek, this feels like a warm-up set. I don't think it's a specific challenge for you, and it might be better if when you're filming, you film from a rear 45-degree angle, just so we can see a bit more about what's going on in the gym, and get it to a weight where you're actually having to really work for it because it's not looking particularly challenging, and so it's hard to give feedback when you really are at a working weight. What I can tell you from what I'm seeing based on here, things you want to pay attention to is one, on your descent, just slow down. You're really kind of bouncing in and diving in. And I don't know how, again, I can't see how much weight you've got on the bar because we're side on to you here. But once this starts to get challenging for you, you're going to want to control that descent downwards and not sort of drop in too fast. Okay? The other thing you want to pay attention to, Derek, as you're doing this is I feel, even though I can't really see your shoes, I feel that your knees are probably too far forwards over your shoes. So as you come down in a controlled fashion, you want to think about reaching your butt back and just pointing your chest a little bit more down at the floor, okay? So just sit your butt back, okay, sit back into it, almost like you're gonna point your chest a little bit more at the floor straight down in front of you here. Now, you're quite a big guy, and when you've got a build like this, let me tell you that when you do that, it will feel tight in between your legs. Okay, you're going to feel like you're kind of jamming your belly in between your thighs. All right, you should have your heels under round about your shoulders with your toes pointed out so you can get your knees out of the way so that as you come down there that gives you enough clearance to get down there but without the knees being so far forward. Yeah, so what we're going to see is your hips are going to be a little further back. All right, your knees will be a little further back and you'll be just leaned over a little bit more to counter that adjustment we're doing there. All right, by slowing it down, I think you'll find that easier to guide yourself into that sitting position. And what you can do is the classic body weight stretch. If you've got Starting Strength third edition, have a look at there. You'll see the body weight stretch where the guy stretches down, takes the tip of his elbows and just shoves it into his knees, pushes his knees out. If you look at yourself doing that side on in the mirror, you'll see what that does to your back angle, and you'll find that you're a little bit more leaned over, your butt's a bit more back, the knees are a bit more back, and you will be balanced in your shoes as you do that. Okay, so you'll be on that midfoot balance. All right. So That's the plan with you. Don't forget, if you send a video in down the line, go for the rear 45-degree angle. It's a bit more of a useful diagnostic for checking these things out. And try to make sure we get all of you in the video as well, because when I can't see your feet, it misses something, okay? All right, sir. Okay, we're going to move on. Again, I'm aiming to do this is like a PR of form checks for me today. Andrew is up next. So, Andrew's written to us. Let's have a little read here. I've been getting better with the squat, but still have trouble keeping it over the foot, getting depth, and I don't know if my back angle is flat enough. I dropped from 145 to 130 pounds to try to correct form and try to push my deadlift ahead of my squat. A male, 27 years old, 5'11", 200 pounds, 205. And yeah, and working on getting your protein up to 200 grams a day. Great. Okay. Andrew, good stuff. Okay. At your height, your body weight, you're not that far off where, where I think is going to be good for you. So I feel primarily with you, the journey is on progressing the weights and just dealing with technique issues, especially if it's been messing with you. And I get the feeling that that the squat's been kind of vexing you a little bit, if I be honest with you, or you're just very early on into it with because this weight for you is this really isn't that much for you. Okay, so let's get the tape play and have a look at a few reps. Okay, wind on to here. Now, you guys that just watched the last form check, Andrew, I hope you were on that one as well. You probably are already seeing what I'm seeing. There's the crease of the hip. There's the top of the knee. All right. So we probably want to think about there, and that was you on the toes there. Do you guys see that? There, you can see the heels start to kick up a little bit there. All right. So we can see symptomatic things. This is annoying to lifters because this is distracting. All right, this balance issue there. Okay. Andrew, here's what we're going to do to help you fix this, all right? This is going to be similar to what I said to Derek. So, what I want you to do is without the barbell, I want you to do that body weight stretch. Okay, probably side on to a mirror as well. And what you're going to do when you squat down is you're going to take your squat stance, which doesn't look too off to me at all, by the way. You're going to shove your elbows into your knees, shove your knees out, and and then you're going to look in the mirror, side on, and the first thing you're going to do is just get used to bringing the crease of your hip down a little bit more to just get down to that depth position there, so it's just below the top of the knee. So because you've got a minor depth issue here, but you're not that far off it either. So this isn't a big adjustment, but let's get you settled into coming a bit lower as you come down, and then you're going to freeze in that position. All right. And here's what I want you to do. At the moment, as you squat down, you've got this persistent thing that's annoying you of drifting into the toes. I think you put that in your notes actually. Yeah, trying to keep it over the foot, and that's the balance issue you were hinting at. So, what you're going to do is you're going to come down with body weight only, do that stretch. And what I want you to do is, if you catch yourself rocking onto your toes, I want you to rock your body weight back onto the midfoot position. All right. So rock back onto midfoot. Okay, that's with your body weight. So that's going to get the heel down again. If you'll see it coming up as we are in this video, if you're doing it with your body weight, right? You'll catch it there, and if you see that drift, you're going to rock your weight back until your heels go down. Once your heels are down and flat, then you're allowed to go back upwards. All right. Then we are going to take a remedial course of action and we're going to add the barbell to your back and we're going to start loading that up again. This is a very lightweight for you, so I think we can just carry on with what you're doing. But what I think is going to be useful for you, Andrew, is to once you've felt what that feels like in your shoe, that pressure of feeling the heel flat, as you squat down, I want you to think about keeping the foot flat, keeping the heel down. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of ways of doing this, so kind of note these down. All right. So the first is just if you can just do it from just feeling that pressure that you just got used to in the body weight drill, then you just carry on doing that with the barbell and load it, and that's it. You're good, and you just come down a little bit lower. All right. Now, if that's not happening and the old habit reappears, then I'll give you the next cue to think about. The next cue is think about keeping the bar over your heels. All right, so as you squat down, visualize you're keeping the bar guiding it over your heels. Now, that's an exaggeration, that won't actually happen. But if you visualize that and you go for that, that's going to have you sit back enough and keep that pressure on the heels, and that's going to help with that. Okay, so that's our next cue. All right. Now, if that after a few sessions is not happening and this thing is still vexing you, and assuming you're not near, if you're near a starting strength coach, my friend, just get in there because we will deal with this in like 10 minutes. This is us absolutely hammering this for you, okay? Just by helping you sit back a bit more, get that pressure where it needs to be. We'll deal with that pretty quickly in a gym. But assuming that you can't do that, then we're on to the next position, okay? Which, again, I don't know that you'll need this, but what I'd have you do, and is I'd have you do a pause squat. So you're going to come all the way down to the bottom. You're going to stop at the bottom. If you detect that you're on your toes, you're just going to, like we did in the bodyweight drill, you're going to fix it there and you're not allowed to come back up until the heel's down and then you stand up. All right. Now, what will happen is in the course of a few sessions, you'll get so good at coming to that point, you'll just go straight to it. At that point, you basically can remove the paused squat. Now, because we are dealing with a balance issue in this one, I personally think, I know it's very light, but because you sometimes get thrown forwards, I think you should adjust your safeties to a higher position, Andrew. So maybe get them up two settings. I think three will be too much because if it does weirdly throw you off forwards that one time when you're working on this, the bar's going to go on the safeties and you don't have any problems in the gym. Nothing that's going to really mess with you up here, okay? So yeah, fix your safeties, get that dialed in. And then I think that remedial course of action is going to be really useful for you. So hopefully those cues, write them down, use them one after the other. So if the first one works, you can disregard the others, right? You've dealt with it with the body weight stretch and that balance drill. If that's not happening, then you'll build the other ones in. And then ultimately, if you really get stuck, then you might need to, like I say, get in for some coaching if you can, or we'll attack it differently. So maybe right into us that way. Okay. All right. I think we're making pretty good time. Margaret's here. Margaret. All right. So Margaret says, I'm not sure about depth in her notes. I got my notes written down here. I'm not sure about depth. And she says, and everything else. Okay. Um, let's have a look. Let's get Margaret moving and see what happens. In fact, you know what? Let me just bring it back to the very start just here. So I want you guys to see this. Well, Margaret, you've been following along so far on the form checks. I'm hoping. So I hope that you've already kind of got in the visuals of your mind where that depth is, because you said, I'm just not sure about depth. But this is great having this side on view because in here we can really see crease of hip. And guys who we were talking to earlier, Derek, Andrew, this is the one you want to see. Here's the top of her knee. Here's the crease of the hip, that fold there. And you can see she's definitely, okay, Margaret, you're definitely down to depth on that one. Yeah, we get that slight downward slope of the thigh when that happens. That's what it's going to look like. All right. Now, Margaret, you've got the depth. You don't need to go any deeper than that. All right. So if you're worried about depth, that's a good target depth. You don't need to go any deeper. And when you've been going through the reps, you may have been, I think, preemptively cutting them off a little bit soon thereafter. Okay, but that one we just looked at, that I hit the stop on the tape, you absolutely had that. I think you might be doubting yourself a little bit. But if we go back to that first one, let's just hit pause on that again. And Margaret, maybe when this happens, maybe take a screenshot. But there it is. Okay, there it is. Hip of crease, lower than the top of the knee. That's what you want. So you definitely can do it. And now you just want to dial this in for reps across. So the way that you'll do this, Mike, there's two ways. One is just do this lots of times in your repetitions, and you'll start to get a feeling. We call it proprioception. Margaret, you'll get a feeling in your body of what that feels like when you're down to depth. Now, I know when I'm down to depth because if I feel certain, literally physical pressures in my body, I don't know that I want to tell you what they are because it might not be the same for you. All right, but I'll tell you to pay attention to what, like, against in the relationship between your body, your legs. Look, pay attention to how that feels in your body, and when you start to see, when I feel this, that's one that's down to depth. That's quite a good barometer, but it might take a couple of weeks of just kind of sort of testing that out. All right. So there's some good news there. You can do it. Yes, the other is a little bit high, but Margaret, I think we can get this done for you. Now, there is one thing I want to address with you that's in the setup, Margaret. To me, I think your hands look very wide on the bar, and I'm concerned that you're actually putting the bar on your back a bit lower than it needs to go. So the evidence of that is as I look at you side on here, to me, that bar looks like it's down well drifting down onto your arms. And in order to deal with that situation, you've had to kind of really elevate your arms up because I feel that if you were to pick your chest up and point your arms, like your elbows down, I think you'd feel that the bar was going to roll down your down back, and you wouldn't like that. So I think you're actually really cranking your elbows up to try to control the barbell. But my feeling is that you've just got it a bit too low on your back, Margaret. And so here, you just want to be careful. Just make sure that you're seating it just underneath the spine of the scapula. That's the shoulder blade. And the spine is that bony bump that you can feel. If you lay your hand over your shoulder and just start to palpate that region, you might feel a kind of a horizontal ridge there. And if you just jump on and just type in spine of scapula onto a search engine, it'll give you kind of a clean look at what that looks like, and you can just get used to seeing it, find it on your body. Another tip I can give you is when you get under the bar, again, your hands, they look very wide to me, Margaret. I think if you can, please bring me in a tighter grip. But you get under the bar, put the bar deliberately really high on your shoulders, like on top of your trapezius, okay? Then squeeze your shoulders back together like you're trapping a pencil in between your shoulder blades, okay? If you can walk your hands in closer, do that. From here, start sliding up against the barbell. And what you'll find is as you do that, the barbell naturally catches on a shelf of muscle, which I've found to be right where it wants to be. It feels very, very secure. And you'll find you don't need to crank your elbows up to hold the bar. It will be just held there quite nicely on your posterior deltoids, okay, which is the back of the shoulder muscle rather than way down here on the arm. All right. So I think that's going to just bring you a bit more dare I say it, enjoyment with the squat and less trying to balance the damn thing. So I think that's worth adjusting for you. You know the points on the depth. If that becomes an issue for you, Margaret, the way you're going to deal with that depth one, by the way, is you're going to put a box underneath you. All right, so you're going to take something like that box. I don't know if that's your gym bag or if that's a step up box, but put that there and then grab a couple plates and put those on top of it. And what you will do is very simple. You'll just make the box up to the height of where your butt goes here. All right, so you'll make it up to that height. So then you know that when your hips touch the box, all right, just here. So the crease just dropping just below the top of the knee. When your butt touches that, you know you're at depth. And you'll just have like a few sessions doing that. And then you can get the box out of the way. And then you'll just really have that dialed in. Okay. You'll just have the consistency there on the depth. All right. So that's that, Margaret. I hope that's useful to you. Again, if you're not sure, link up with me on Instagram, Strength Revolution Coaching. But I think you've got this. If you've got stuck on your other lifts, guys, you can always do a more comprehensive form check. All right, which might be worth doing. Otherwise, Margaret, I do hope that's useful for you to get you a bit more on target with things that you're worried about. Okay. Now, how are we doing? Right, 29 minutes. I think we're going to do it, guys. I think we're going to do it. We've got two more to do. This is that I'm going to say now. I apologize if I'm saying this incorrectly. It's either Varun or Varun or Varun. I'm not sure which it is. Varun, I'm sorry. I'll go with Varun. I apologize if I've said that incorrectly. Please don't hate me if I've mispronounced your name. So I've not seen that before. While we're watching this, I'll read out what Varun's written. He's said to us, I've been on and off starting strength for a while. Wanted to get some feedback on my squat. I used to hyperextend my back, but worked on bracing to have a more neutral, tight core. For depth, I think I'm going a bit too low and possibly losing back extension at the bounce on the bottom, but cutting it short doesn't feel right since I don't feel the bounce off the bottom. That's just some background. I'm excited to hear any feedback you may have. Thanks for your help. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, Varun. So, all right, let's start with the setup then. Let's just deal with this up front. I do think you've done a pretty good job of getting under the bar. And one thing that concerns me is just here, your head is very much hanging off your body. Okay, it's your nose is pointing right down at the floor. And what I'd like you to do is pick up your head a bit more, and in the unrack, you can look more in the mirror. We'll fix the eye gaze in a second, but if you start pulling the head down, Baron, then it kind of rounds the shoulders out with you, and we just want to watch out for that because you said you had some structural issues with breathing and bracing, so we don't want to introduce something that's going to kind of contort you in your upper body and give you a new set of problems to fix. So pick up your head a bit more, pick up your chest, stand the bar up, walk the bar out like 2 or 3 paces, and then carefully lower your eye position down and point your nose down over here. But it won't be to this degree, okay? This is way, way too low. So you're just going to fractionally lower the head a few degrees so that your nose is kind of pointing down here, because I know the wall is quite close to where the rack is. So you're probably going to end up looking about where my cursor is there, okay? So just watch out for that because I can see this thing kind of like pushing you over a little bit. And I'm not too keen on the bar dominating you when we need to control it in the squat. All right. So here you are in your start position. So there, see what you've done there? That's better for what we want here. So on the unrack, the head angle a bit higher. Keep it there. Come to start position, holding the chest up. Now, carefully set your eye gaze to where it is here. That's what we want to have there. Okay. Now let's get you moving. I can see there as you start coming down, you're burying the head down again. So again, just watch out for that. There's a little bit of adjusting to do there. If you have to, take some like electrical tape, the brightly colored tapes like 50 cents off Amazon, and just put a little X on the wall. Once you're done, you can take it off the wall and no one's going to get unhappy with you. Just put a little mark there to give you that visual point, okay? Now, you're concerned about your depth. Yeah, I think this is actually too low. This is definitely too low. This is what we call down near like an arse to grass squat. So there's good news here, all right? It's probably easier to bring you back. It's not that easy to stop the tape, but Varun, it's going to look more like this, okay? Now, I'll just tell you guys, you probably spotted it, but we are in shadow here and you're wearing black on black. So it can be quite difficult to see what your body's doing when you're doing this, Varun. So what I'd probably suggest is wear something of a lighter color, shorts, film a bit more side on, and this will be a bit clearer than when you go to check this when you're doing this yourself. So, yeah, that one there is too low. If I play it from here, this is where we kind of want you to come, crease a hip just below the top of the knee. If I let it play, whoa, you come down quite a bit lower. All right. And as you do that, as you do that, you to me, it looks like your hips, your butt is basically almost like it's going to hit the back of your thigh, your back of your calves or your ankles as you come down, and that's another thing that we want to deal with that. So what it's going to look more like, Varun, in terms of the depth, is more bit more like this, okay? And in your movement, again, I think you're a little bit too knees forward over the shoes. So as you come down, you're going to sit back a bit more, okay? You're going to reach your butt backwards and you're going to think about keeping your butt away from your heels, okay? So you're going to stop yourself early in the squat. You're going to cut it off sooner, keeping your butt away from your heels and sitting back is the direction you're going to go. All right? Reach your heels back, reach your butt back behind your heels, okay? So that's what you need to do. So we just need to cut a bit of this depth off and get you to sit back a bit more. And the housekeeping is just fixing that eye position. All right. That's a relatively minor one. I don't think that'll take you too long. But this one with the squat might take a little bit longer just to refine this out a little bit more. Now, the good news here is by stopping a bit earlier, I think you're going to get a bit more of a return on that. Okay. You won't be as fatigued trying to keep searching for that bouncing point by maintaining that tension, Baron, and sitting back more. I think you'll get a better shot at having more of an elastic bounce out of the thing. And I think that you're searching for the bounce is what's led you to have such a low squat. 'Cause you think if I keep going, it's got to be here somewhere, got to be here somewhere. You get lower, lower, lower. You're nearly sitting down and hitting the damn floor. So I think that that's where the problems come from in this one. So try those tips I've given you there for cutting that off and just see if that helps you out a little bit with positioning. Okay. Now we've got one more to do. Here we go. Last one here. I think I've done it. I've hit a PR. I've hit a PR. Daniel, you guys watch and I'll talk. All right, I would like a form check, please. I usually get some soreness in my wrists and lower back after heavy squats. Now, what do you guys notice already here? But we got to help Daniel here because this is when squats gets nasty. This is when squats are not fun. Hopefully you guys can see this. So, Daniel, I can see certainly where the situation is with the wrists and the soreness, and I suspect it's what links to that low back soreness as well. So, like, I can definitely see a couple things here that we can fix right off the bat for you. I hinted at it in the last video, but we have a situation here where, first of all, the bar is really dominating you. It's really kind of like pushing you over. So, as you're standing up here, it's kind of immediately kind of pushing you around. And probably the best thing I need to work on with you is getting you, rather than it kind of rounding you over and kind of trying to really compress you, I want you to get under the bar and I want you to stand it up. Yeah. So you're going to keep your chest up, you're going to squeeze your shoulders together, and you are going to take control of the barbell. All right. You're going to get control of it. So I think the first thing to do is I think you're at about that's 315 there. So it's like 140 kg. And then I think you've got a couple plates on here as well. So I'm guessing you're around 150, 160 kg here. So the first thing I think we want to do is probably just pull the weight back to somewhere maybe just up around 315. Okay. That's 140 kgs. I can't, I'm not sure. I think you're in pounds. I think you're in the US there. So take the end plates off. Let's get you in the driving seat on this thing, okay? Because when it gets so heavy, it's giving you a nightmare of a time here, and it's leading to that discomfort in the wrists. And if that persists, it's going to play havoc with your bench and press, and we cannot have that. That's not fun, no sir. All right. So anyway, stand up tall, keep your chest up, and see if you can walk your hands in a bit closer. All right. The emphasis I want to give you is that you control the barbell and you squeezing your shoulders together is what controls the bar. All right. That's what's controlling the bar. And and your hands are not to join in and try to push the bar up or take the weight off the barbell. That's what's really important here. Okay, if you want to use a thumbs around grip, that's okay by me, but squeeze tight with your shoulder blades. The back holds the bar, Daniel. The back holds the bar. The hands are just laid there. Don't let them hold the weight of the bar. Don't let them shove on the bar. Get yourself up tall here. And then every single time you go to do a rep, take a breath in, fix your back position, and then squat down. Okay? So it doesn't get a chance there to get you loose and start pushing you down again. Stand up tall, squeeze in tight, breath in, and then squat down. Okay? I think you will get this, but let's reset the weight, fix that setup for you, and that will carry across into the movement, and it just make life so much better. Okay, let's get that done for you, and then you can start to enjoy the damn thing again. All right, okay guys, that's it. I hit it. Wow, who knew? Strength Club, thank you very much for following us and tuning in. You can send videos through the app. You know what to do there. My name is Byron Johnston. My website, strengthrevolution.org, starting strength coaching if you need it, and video form checks here or elsewhere if you need something more in depth. Follow me on Instagram, Strength Revolution Coaching. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Please give us a thumbs up. I'll see you for the next one. Take care. Bye for now.